We are back with another review, and today I got a special little treat for you. This is a product that I actually had a hand in making. So without further ado, let's hop right into this review. So I got this nifty little tool that a friend of mine and myself came up with during a smoke sesh that we had 3 years ago. It's been in the back of my mind for a while, and I just recently started getting into powders. Now, the reason why this was actually even invented in the first place was basically the issue is, if you know what smoking powders and sometimes even oils or oil-soaked plant material, sometimes it smolders and it's very difficult to put it out. And sometimes you're done consuming and you want to basically put it out, but there's the issue of how do you put out something that's smoldering? You're basically wasting what you have. So I was like, it would be very interesting if we had something that we could just kind of cover it. And we initially called it the hash hat, just because this is just something that we just kind of came up with at the time. But it kind of came to fruition here, and I actually ended up getting this thing created. Now, I ended up putting a little glass little knob on here, which actually helps it from just kind of sliding off the top of your bowl, because when you have issues with if you're not having a 90-degree angle, which is going to be this, just kind of sitting on top like that. If you have something that's on like a 45, you kind of need something that needs a little bit of grippage. So that's basically where the little knob comes into play. But this thing is actually really legit. I like using it personally, and we actually don't have it for sale or anything like that. It was just something that we created because it would have been easier for us as smokers, to basically have the ability to smoke powders and to not have to worry about, wasting product and, returning to that, smoke later on, at a later time, and not have to have, a lot of it burnt, basically till it extinguishes, which is wasting it. So at the end of the day, it really came down to like us basically not wasting product. But at the end of the day, it also helps, extend the smoke time of your concentrates, especially if you're doing like a sundae where you have like flour or crushed up nugs, and then you have maybe powder on top, maybe some wax drizzle, and then maybe some oil on top, like an oil drizzle. When you have a cocktail like that all mixed together, and it's all going to smolder really well, and it's going to smoke really well as well. But you want to have an ability to at least put it out so that you don't waste it, unless you're basically going to sit down and smoke the whole bowl in a smoke sesh, or you have a bunch of people around you that are going to share that with you. It's kind of a unique thing to have a desire for, because a lot of people either do one or the other. They're either sprinkling flour or they're going to, doing dabs with the concentrates, the full melts. Then rarely you see people mixing them together. I personally like to mix them together. I like, again, doing Sundays where you can basically integrate different types of properties, let's say, because you can have like decarboxylated oil dripped on top of non-activated plant matter, and then have some non-activated like full melt drizzled on top as like a sprinkle. You could even do some non-activated, dry sift on top of that as a nice little sprinkle as well. So having like the activated oil mixed with the non-activated plant material, it tends to have a nice headier feel to it. And also being able to not waste that is essential, because it is costly, and also if you're not smoking it, then why just be wasteful in general? And it would be something where, especially if you pack like a nice 18 millimeter bowl tends to have a larger capacity for plant material on it. If you have something large like that that's packed and you're sharing it and it's smoldering and you don't want to hit it anymore, I mean, that's a lot of plant material that could be in there that's wasted, along with all the concentrates. And usually once you put it down, if you don't have something to put it out, like a hash hat like this, it's going to be something that's basically just going to burn out until there's basically nothing left. And it's almost not going to be able to be smoked again. This session's almost over. So that was the inspiration that came behind the hash hat and creating this. Now this one particularly, I liked it. I did a nice little green glass here. I did get this made up by a glass blower. I just kind of told them the specs, and this was the first prototype. So I'm sure this is going to change. This is just the first one that was introduced to me in regards to like a working prototype. That's not something that's other than glass. I wanted it to be glass, the first working prototype. I didn't want it to be any type of metal or anything like that. This is a nice teal green glass, and on the end here I got a nice glow in the dark little knob. The glow-in-the-dark knob's nice, especially once it's charged up and it is dark. It's nice that you could find where the hash hat's at, especially if it's on like your rolling tray somewhere. You can do that. So I think I will be keeping that for sure. It does kind of look like a little wizard's hat. I think that's kind of neat. It's a little like, it's like a hash hat. It's like a little wizard's hat. The knob itself, I wasn't really too happy with it, I guess, because it is rather large and bulky. It almost kind of looks like just a glass rod that they kind of fused to that, the wizard hat, and then just kind of rounded it off, or it's the end of a glass rod or something. I'm not too sure how the glass blowing process actually works, but I think it's a little bit too, I mean, if you think about it, that's going large into your bowl. It's almost like de-bowling it in a way. So I think I would probably want something that's a little bit flatter, almost kind of like a, I'm thinking I'm going to go with more of the pancake type route. What I'm looking at is for the next rendition, we're going to take this nub and kind of make it into a pancake. So since the inside of a bowl is a conical shape, it's definitely going to have a circular shape on top for the most part, unless it's like a super heady bowl where the rim of the bowl isn't circular. It's something else. But for the most part, if it's an industrial glass, I mean, like 90%, let's say, of bowls out there are going to have a circular shape on the inside. So I think a disc would be a little bit better, and it also, I think, would seal and trap everything in a little bit easier. This did work for me, but I mean, obviously, it was a very large 18 millimeter bowl, which had a very deep gully in it, which I used this on. And it worked amazing. But if you don't have that, again, if you're using something like a 14, a small little bowl, and you got like a small little sundae packed in there, I don't know if this would work for you. But if it had a little small little pancake a little pancake disc sitting on top of this little like wizard hat type shape right here instead of this nub, I believe that would kind of inset inside the bowl, and it also will stop from sliding, especially if it's on like a 45 like this. I think it will stop it from wanting to slide down. If that little disc is kind of caught on the inside of the lip of the bowl, it kind of just sets in there. And I think it'll almost seal it kind of like a manhole cover for a sewer. I think that's kind of the look I'm kind of going for as in the lip. I want it to inset into the bowl versus it kind of being a nub. But yeah, this was something that just kind of came up out of nowhere because we saw a need and saw a need to fill that need. And this is the first working prototype. I mean, again, yeah, we talked about it about 3 years ago. It just took me a little bit to get around to actually getting this made up. Obviously, other things come, ahead of something like this, a little convenience piece. But when the planets align, they align up for the right reason. So that's when we got the hash hat here in 2019. And yeah, if you like the idea of the little hash hat, which is something that'll stop you from smoldering, and you think the idea that we came up with is going to be probably the only solution for that, let us know down in the comments below. What do you think of the hash hat? And me changing the nub to a little disc or like a little pancake, what do you think of that? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you have a better solution for something like that, because remember, this is going to be the part that goes on the inside of the bowl, let us know down in the comments below. I mean, you might see your idea come to fruition if it's better than whatever we come up with when we make the next prototype of this. And I mean, eventually we'll probably launch this, as a branded little toy or a little trinket for a little tool, I should say, for smokers. But for now, it's just an idea that's come to physical form, which is really the first step in the process of making something a reality, is taking the idea and turning it into physical form. So again, if you like the hash hat, let us know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more content like this, subscribe for more. I do smoking reviews every single day, so be on the lookout for that, and have a great rest of your day.